Welcome to the CPS 12 upgrade-only computer-based training curriculum. My name is Rhea Davis, and I'll be walking you through the administrative and functional changes that are new for CPS 12. We'll also focus on how these changes correspond to meaningful use requirements. The goals of this initial release of CBTs are to provide experienced users of the EMR application with a general look at what has changed and also show how to navigate the new, more intuitive user interface. This curriculum might move a little quickly and is therefore not intended for new users. The format of this curriculum is a little different than what you may have seen in the past. It will be a mix of PowerPoint as well as navigation within the application. Each CBT corresponds to a section in the What's New in Centricity Practice Solution version 12 guide, so ensure you have a downloaded or printed copy available. I'll provide you with the page numbers the CBT is pairing up with so it's easier to follow along. I recommend keeping the upgrade guide in a place where you can easily reference it when revamping your workflows to accommodate the new enhancements and MU requirements. We'll begin by taking an overview look at some of the new user interface changes you'll immediately notice when opening CPS 12 for the first time. You can reference pages 65 through 68 of your What's New guide. But before we begin, I'd like to ease your mind just a little bit about upgrading. In CPS 12, you'll find that the chart loads much faster, and with the navigational enhancements, is easier to move from module to module. Once you begin using this new version and get a good feel for where items have been relocated, you'll find that most of the functional behaviors are exactly the same. So don't worry, you'll catch on in no time. All right, well here it is. You're looking at the new interface of the chart desktop. The changes you see here to the ribbon across the top and the navigational pane on the left carry through all of the chart-related modules as well as administration. Depending on what module you're in, the ribbon icons and legacy links change so that you can perform appropriate actions. If you're a longtime EMR user, you may remember the old saying, tabs are for viewing, buttons are for doing. Well, here in CPS 12, that saying is true once again. Tabs on the left will take you somewhere, while the buttons across the top allow you to perform an action. There are also a few static items that remain regardless of the module that you're in. But first, let's take a deeper look at the left-hand navigational pane. For the sake of time, we're going to look at each of the chart-related modules and their different left-hand navigation features side by side, because all areas of the chart will function in the same way. Each of these areas should look pretty familiar to you. The main change here is with the additional tabs in the navigation pane. Instead of having to go to the main Centricity menu to get to another module, like for example to billing, you can now simply click on the tab of the module that you'd like to open. EMR-related modules open in the middle of the screen as they did in previous versions, while PM-related modules will open in their normal way, which is essentially into a new window. A few things to take notice of. Like I mentioned previously, many of the items remain the same here in CPS 12. You've probably already noticed the legacy navigation items in each area. Also, you can still move your navigational area up and down based on your personal preference. And you'll also still know where you are in the system based on the headings and color scheme used in the tabs. If you'd like to see more or fewer buttons in your navigation, utilizing the right arrow, which is always at the bottom of this pane, will give you that option. Once you click the right-facing arrow, you'll notice that you can navigate to the modules that were not seen in the dark blue navigation area. For ease of use, you can also customize what modules you'd like to show by choosing the Add or Remove buttons. Simply uncheck the modules that you don't frequent, and they will no longer show up here. You can also add them back in by following the same steps and then simply clicking on the module. Now let's take a closer look at the ribbon icons of the chart desktop, chart, and administration. Just like in previous versions, the icons do change in each area based on the actionable items that need to be done there. Notice that the icons here in the Home tab are grouped according to function and labeled at the bottom of each section in light gray. Now we'll take a closer, full-screen look at the chart desktop, focusing on the ribbon. There are two button options for finding a patient. Notice that upon clicking, they work just as they did in previous versions. However, if you prefer keyboard shortcuts, holding down Control and hitting the letter F will also still work. You'll notice that these two buttons will remain in all areas of the chart, except for administration because they simply don't exist there. The Documents area allows for the user to easily perform functions such as viewing attachments, signing, and seeing a contributors list for documents that are here in the summary page. Alerts and flags, once you locate and click on the icons, function the same as they did in previous versions. There really shouldn't be any workflow change required. The desktop area allows for users to open charts, complete orders associated with a document, and import chart summaries from an outside source. The print icon, upon clicking it, hasn't changed at all in terms of functionality. When clicking from the Home tab to Options, you'll notice that items that were previously in a list format from the menu are all now found here. This includes your workstation settings, printers, biometric registration, and preferences. Once you click into any of these items, you'll notice the functionality is the same as you see it is here for preferences. Okay, moving on to an area where you're likely going to see the most changes: administration. In your What's New guide, please reference pages 65 and 66. This home area really takes the place of the old edit menu, as well as adds some quick navigation buttons for administrative areas that we tend to use a lot, such as application users, which was previously buried down into a few layers of the left navigation tree. Notice though, when you click these buttons, the tree still expands and takes you to that same place. So really you can use either option, the buttons or the tree, whatever you're comfortable with. Something to keep in mind though, not all admin items are found in the ribbon. It's just for the areas that we tend to use the most. So for things like orders, just follow the old path. The main application functions are cross-application setup features for both EMR and PM. You'll notice that you can navigate really quickly to wherever you need to go. Some items, though, such as insurance, will require you to use the drop-down menu to drill down just a little bit further to get to where you need to be. Once you start using the buttons, much like everything else that we've discussed so far, the functionality is pretty much the same. The financial functions area contains the configuration features that are important to PM, such as batch management, EDI, and charge maintenance. Charge maintenance also includes several important administrative setup features like diagnosis and procedures, allocation sets, and fee schedules. The clinical setup area contains buttons that easily allow us to administer settings for pharmacies and link logic. Clicking on the File tab allows you to perform a few other functions, like open and close different modules, log out, and exit. Logging out keeps your session running but secure and allows you to quickly log back in, while clicking on Exit will close the application completely. You can also choose Help to contact support, see version information, get to web resources, and access a new feature, the What's New document. There are a few static items across the top of your screen. Help is one of them. It will always be in the top right-hand corner. But don't forget, if you ever get stuck, F1 on your keyboard will pull up the Help menu. All keyboard shortcuts still work in CPS 12, but if you're using Dragon or other speech recognition software, that might need some tweaking. As you've probably already noticed, there are a few static icons which should look familiar, as they haven't really changed since previous versions, but they represent documents, alerts and flags, link logic items, the user who's currently logged in, the log out button, the help button, and a chevron which will open and collapse the ribbon. Let's watch how clicking the chevron will collapse the ribbon, allowing for more room to view items on your desktop, and then how to open it back up. It's a simple concept, the opening and closing of the ribbon, and it's really going to be a personal preference. But it's good to know that this is an option. And if you do choose to do this, if you ever wonder where your icons went, just click that chevron once again to expand it. All right, final topic, custom links and commands. Not every user will have these icons. It's a security setting, but these two areas allow the users with the appropriate privileges to create custom HTML links in the navigation pane and in the ribbon. These links could take a user quickly to a reference site, hospital system site, or other external link that you use frequently. If you have the security privilege, click the icon, add a custom command, name it, enter the web address, and click OK. It will now be in the designated area as a quick link. These can be sophisticated with custom coding to remember login names and passwords, or a simple one like my example here. Reference your What's New guide on page 68 for details on security.